When people are trying to make sense of their lives, it's very natural for them to go to God, go to church, read the Bible, trying to figure life out, right? I think most of us came into Christianity because we were looking for answers and the reason why are we here, the meaning of life, and all of that. And I understand that because I did that myself. But, I was in my 20s asking these questions, and I slowly began to realize that when we're not understanding how life works, it's not a spiritual problem that we're dealing with. It's a personal issue that we're dealing with. And let me try to explain what I mean. I think that Christians come and think, oh, if I read the Bible enough, if I pray enough, maybe I should go to a spiritual retreat. If I memorize some more scriptural verses, maybe if I go on a mission trip and do more service, I'll come closer to God. Especially when people are saying, I can't really feel God's presence or his love, and I'm trying so hard to do all these things to get closer to God, and I'm just not getting closer to God. What I tell people is that that's probably not a spiritual issue that you're having. It's a personal issue that you're having. It's a personal issue because when we begin to over-spiritualize our lives, because we want to very much so simplify it, and we're trying to understand it, we tend to make it very black and white and think that all of life's answers should be answered through the Bible or through praying enough or going through, some kind of a camp. These spiritual activities or Christian religious ritual activities will not bring you closer to God. The reason why you don't feel like you're coming closer to God is not because of spiritual issues, but it's for personal issues, meaning we need to begin to understand about life, better understand of who you are, who I am, ourselves. We need to better understand what people are like. We need to understand history. We need to understand how things work. And all of these things are life skill sets, things that we have to learn in life. That's why we're here as humans. We're not babies anymore. And we go through school and we're learning about just how life operates, how the world is. We're learning all these things through experience and just being a part of this world. And so when we're not plugging in and understanding these things through all of these modes, and we block that out and we only want God to fulfill every single need that we have, now we're going into a very dangerous area of trying to over-spiritualize everything and trying to find answers through this one way. And I think that is a huge problem in Christianity and in religious circles. I think that people that tend to go in that direction are very lost in a lot of ways, and they're trying to find answers, but going about it in all the wrong way. And so this video that I'm making is trying to address that issue and try to bring distinction to people out there and to maybe some of you that are wanting and looking for these kinds of answers. And the more you read the Bible, the more you pray, you're not receiving it. Well, because it's not there. The Bible wasn't written for that. There is a universal message in the Bible, but part of our experience here is for us to grow and mature and learn and to engage with many different kinds of tools and understanding about the world and this life. And when we reject that and only want God, only want the Bible, only want church, then you're being very, very narrow-minded into this black and white thinking that is going to put you on a trajectory of a lot of misunderstanding, of a lot of bad expectations, and a lot of hurt and pain. See, I think most people come to God because their first home wasn't all that great. And so they looked into Christianity to be their second home. But what happens when that second home environment is just as maybe neglectful, abusive, and not helpful? there you now have a crisis point in your life where you're not understanding how is it that, I'm trying to pursue God and things in my life are just not going right because it's a personal issue. You need life skills. You need to be a life learner. You need self-work, self-health, understand the dynamics of your family, maybe the dysfunction there. And a lot of times when you're in a dysfunctional family, in your first home, and you don't have a loving environment, what happens? What happens is that you begin to receive messages about who you are from that dysfunctional home. And so you interpret it. And as you interpret that, you begin to reflect what they say about you. And that's a lot of self-hate. So when a person is in a self-hate position that they don't even know, but they're trying to receive love, and God's love especially, through the spiritual or Christian environment, but they're not addressing the core issue of what's really going on inside of them. They need a lot of healing is what they need. And really true healers understand this. And I don't want to call them therapists or counselors, because not all of them are healers either. But it's people that have a holistic understanding of what it means to be human, what it means to have a human nature, what it means to have good, healthy relationships with other humans, what it is to pursue God and to have a relationship with God. These kinds of things are being answered through other modes. It's not found in the Bible. And I think it's very hard for people to accept that, because they just want it so. They want God, and they want God to fix everything. They want the Bible. All the answers are in the Bible. It needs to just be fixed. Everything can get fixed this way. That's a very over-spiritualization kind of concept and mentality. And I think it's very unhealthy. It leads to a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of poor choices. Because you didn't receive that in your first home, you're looking for that in the second home, in a church environment or in a Christian environment. And the church and the Christian environment is just not equipped to do that. The church environment is there for really indoctrination. And people are going there for many different reasons. They go there because it's a social club. They go there because all these people have very similar political views as they do. People go there because it's a good family environment. They want their kids to be safe. They go there because they just want to know that, when they die, they go to heaven and they have eternal life, and they want to see all their relatives afterwards. These are these kinds of reasons. It's more of a social reason, and what the church is today. But back in the day, it was all about this political national movement in the Greco-Roman Empire, and to thrust and to push Christianity through this lens so that more people could come and submit themselves under this rule and reign. So it was a very national political movement. And I believe today it's becoming that even all the more. And so the church environment was never there for healing. It was there for indoctrination, and as this channel is about investigating, moving away from indoctrination and into investigating, we need to deal with some of these spiritual issues of, okay, I've been a Christian for a long time. I'm not getting the answers. What's going on? I thought the Bible could do that. I thought God could do that for me. Why isn't that happening? I think it's a framework and a mindset that we need to completely turn around to help people understand that the Bible is there, but not for those reasons. The church is there, but not for those reasons. You will have to go to places of healing to deal with these core issues and core root issues that you might be dealing with. And a lot of it is about yourself, how you view yourself, how you were raised in your family, your significant other people, high authority figures, how they treated you. All of these things have to be understood and unpacked so that we can rightfully discern, why are we, choosing this kind of lifestyle? Why are we choosing to experience God in this way? What am I looking for? These are questions that I think a lot of people need to ask, so that the bottom won't burn out or break out when they enter into a crisis of their own. So is there a spiritual problem or a spiritual issue with people? Well, maybe, but it's more of a personal issue. And I want to really encourage you to pursue personal healing for those questions and for those answers, and to be on a journey of learning. It's a learning journey, adventure that you need to pursue to begin to gain the knowledge, the information, and the wisdom to make good choices in your life, and to foster and to build the very kind of life that you want, because you have the power to do that. You just need the tools to put that all together. And of course, God is there. He's part of that journey. Absolutely. He's never going to leave you nor forsake you. But he wants you to grow and begin to empower yourself with all the tools that are out there. So over-spiritualizing is not a good thing. It's actually a very negative thing. What we want to do is to live in reality and deal with the issues that we have through the right medium and through the right way, and not just pour ourselves into the Bible or into God thinking that he's just going to solve everything like, a snap of a finger. And I think there's a lot of disillusioned people because of that. And, we need to learn from those mistakes and begin to reach out and cry out for the help that is out there for you and me.